Fashion Empire YouTube channel. Hello everyone, you're welcome. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a collar. That's the collar stand and the collar itself. So I'm going to get my shirt now, measure its neck. We know what we have, so we know what we are going to be working with. I'll be back. So I'm back. So I need to get my scissors. So now this is my shirt. Should I wear it for you? Don't let me wear it for you. You'll still see it when we are through. So this is the shirt now. I just have to trim off the excess we have here. So that's what I'm doing. So now what I'm going to do is simply get the midpoint here at the center back. This is the back piece, remember? So I'm going to get the midpoint. So the midpoint is it's going to help us when we want to sew in the collar. So I'm going to get the midpoint. So now I'm now going to go ahead and measure all round, knowing what my neck circumference is. So I have 8 here. Let me go again. I have 8, 11, 14. So I have 15 and a half here. So what I have here is a total of 15 and a half. And that is what my neck circumference is. So now the next thing I'm going to be doing is it's a collar. So when making a collar, we don't use more than 1/4 as our seam allowance. So now my 15 and half plus half is going to be 16. That's 16. So that means I'm working with a total measurement of 16. Now that 16, I'm going to further divide it by 2. So which is what I'm going to be using to place my fabric on fold. So I'm going to be using 16, 8 rather, 8. Our collar, the neck circumference of my shirt that I'm fixing the collar to is 15 and a half. And I said when you are making a shirt, for the collar, you don't need more than 1/4 for your seam allowance. So now we have to add half to whatever you add half inch to whatever the neck circumference is. So mine is 15 and a half plus half is 16. Then you further divide your 16 or whatever you get by 2 because you are going to be placing your fabric on fold. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. So which is what I'm going to be working with here now. So if you take a closer look, you will see what I have here now is 8. I hope you can see this. So also here too, it is 8. So now the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to get my center front or center back, anyone you call it. So since it's a collar, that means automatically this is the center back because it is the center back that doesn't have an opening. So now at my center back, I'm going to measure half-inch up, half-inch up. Let me adjust my camera. Yes, so I know you'll be able to see it better now. So like I was saying, you measure your half-inch up at the center back. This is the center back. So you measure your half-inch up. I've done that. Then the next thing is we have to get the midpoint here, which our midpoint is 4 inches. So at that point where you mark your 4, you connect it on a slant line. So this is it. Once you are done with that, this is the slant line. So that means it is simply this measurement now that we are going to be using. So now for my collar stand, I want the measurement to be 2. So I'm going to measure 2 all the way. 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. And once I'm done with that, I'm just going to follow that shape. Don't bother. The it's not meant to be um a straight collar, so it's meant to be curved. So that's why we need to follow it so that it will enable our collar to sit perfectly on the body. So now I follow the markings and this is what I have. Now at the center front, this is going to be at the front, this side, because it is the front that has an opening. So this is the front. Now at the front, I'm simply going to come in here because the front is meant to have a shaping like an arc. So I'm simply going to come in by 1.5 inch. So this is the place where I have 1.5 and I'm going to shape it like so. Can you see? It is just as simple as that. Come in by 1.5 and you shape it. So now let me tell you something now. There is no one way to shaping your collar stand. There are lots of designer shirts, yes, that have their collar stands having maintaining the square shaping. So if this is your first time trying a collar, you can go with this square shaping. Then the more you keep doing it, you can now start trying. Okay, I want this design, I want this, I want that. Are you getting? There's no one way to trying things. So and you know, the more you do it, the more you get better at it. So you just go ahead and shape it, bring it down. So this place must still maintain that straight air. It's just this place that needs to be curved. Now, once we are done with that, the next thing, this is the collar stand. The next thing we have to work with now is the collar itself. This is the collar stand. This is, we want to make the collar itself now. Now, automatically, you know this is not a straight line. So we can just go ahead, get our straight line first. So we use that straight line as a guideline for our collar. So now this is 2.5. I'm going to go ahead here, measure my 2.5 too, and connect it on a straight line. So we use that as a guideline. So now this is the guideline now. Now the next thing I'm going to do now, this is the CB of my collar stand. So at this point, I'm going to come up by 2.5. Are you getting it? Okay, let's do 3 first so that I can get it better. So omit this 2.5. Let's go up by 3. Are you getting it? So I'm going to go up by 3 all the way. 3 all the way. 3 all the way. And 3 all the way. Now, I'm going to connect the 3 inches all the way on a straight line. Now, once we are done now, the next thing we are going to do is to get the midpoint here, which is 4 inches. 4. And at that point where we have the 4, we have to measure down. Now, note that this place now, the M is still going to be straight. We are shaping the upper part, that's the outer part. Thank God that even we are shaping this. Now this one has no stand, no collar stand, it's just the collar. So we are shaping, let me show you this, like this center, this place that is going to be at the top. So that is where we are shaping. I hope you understand. So now I'm going to go in. This is the half we measured down. You know, we measured 2.5 initially before I said, okay, let's get 3 inches. So we have a straight line that we are working with as a guideline. So I'm going to shape it. So just shape it slantly, slantly. So don't let it be too obvious that it's. So now, once we are done with that, the next thing we are going to do now is to come to this side. That is the next place we are working with. This part is the next place we are going to work with. Now, for this part now, I'm simply going to go ahead. Are you getting it? And measure now. We have this one here. That means at the base, the collar must stop here. I don't know if you get it. At the base, the collar must stop here. So that it's going to, the base, this base and this place are going to match up. So this is where it must stop. Now, at this place now, you can decide, okay, let's measure what we have here. We have 6 3/4. So you can decide, okay, 6 3/4, you want to add half to it, which is going to be 7 1/4. Then you connect it like so. It depends on how sharp you want this shaping to be. It depends on how sharp you want it to be. If you want it to be so sharp, then you can go ahead and connect from here to here. Are you getting it? If you don't want it to be too sharp, you can just do half inch to whatever you have here. But then you have to be mindful because this, by the time this collar comes down now, it is coming to the front. So you wouldn't want to do something that the collar is going to cover up the button space here. Because this place, you know, it is going to serve as the button space. So I hope you understand. So that is that for the collar, and I'm going to go ahead and simply cut it out now. once we are done, I'm going to go ahead and cut this place out. So I want you to note the way the cutting goes. Look at it. It's not obvious, like it's blending with it. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing too for the color. So I'm going to go ahead. Now this is the color. You can see how curved it comes out, and it's not straight, like it has that curvy look. And this is this now. So now the next thing we are going to do is to cut an extra piece. So if you want to use the same fabric all through for your collar, go ahead, cut the same fabric. But for me, I'm not going to be using the same fabric. So I'm changing the fabric. So I want to use my Ankara for this part. So I'm simply going to go ahead and place my pieces on the Ankara that I'm cutting. So this is it. I'm going to go ahead now and cut it out. So that is that for this one now. That's the collar stand. I'm going to cut another piece for the collar itself. So now this is it. So now the next thing we are going to be cutting, I hope you can see. I hope you can see. So the next thing we are going to be cutting now is the interfacing. So I'm still going to make use of the soft one. I've told you when making yours, you're making it for a customer, a client, use the color. So now for the collar, I've fixed the interfacing as well. So this is it. I'm just going to trim off the excess that may likely be there because that's possible. So the next thing this is the collar stand and this is the collar itself. Now we are going to work with the collar first before the collar stand. So I'm going to place each one together and notch the midpoint. So I need to know the mid. So that's the mid at the base. So I'm going to go ahead and notch this midpoint. So now this is it. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to simply start sewing now. So I'm going to place it, making sure that the notch points matches each other. So I'm going to bring this, I hope you can see. I'm going to bring this like this way. So I'm going to sew from this point all the way. I'm coming back here. So I'm going to leave this place. Remember our seam allowance is 1/4, so I'm just going to maintain that 1/4. So now this is it. So I'm simply going to go ahead and turn it out. So I'm going to turn it this way and give it a nice press before I do the next thing which I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to turn it using my scissors too. So when using your scissors to punch out the sharp places, make sure you don't punch it too much. So you don't lose the stitch around that place, or probably use the scissors to punch the fabric. So you just have to be careful. So I notched that place actually. I've notched it. So in order to make the punching easier. So I'm going to go ahead now, go to my sewing machine, give this place a nice press. See you soon. So once I give it a nice press, this is what I have. You can see everything sitting flat and nice. Now, and this is the notch area, with the place we notched the other time. So I'm going to go ahead also notch this point too. So for this one, I'll notch the midpoint at the top and at the base. So I'm going to notch the midpoint on the both sides. So it's just a way to know this is my CB, this is my CB, and this is where this one is meant to meet this one. So no biggie there. So also the black fabric, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. This place. And I'm going to go ahead and notch this point also. So once I'm done with that, I'm now going to go ahead and match everything together. So this, remember we said this one is coming this way. So automatically you just bring this up this way. Look at this point. This way. Why this one goes with the Ankara? So and I'm going to seal it. I've said it that this is shirt. You don't sew up to half, you do just quarter. And I'm going to start. So, something like so looking at it now, you see I'm matching everything together. That is very, very compulsory. So you need to match everything. So once you are done for that side, you may likely have to turn it over. So start the side so that you use the starting point for the first one as a guideline for this one. So, so still making sure that you match up everything. Everything must be matched up. So at this point now, you just have to be careful the way you turn your hands. So now this is it. So let's just follow the shape. So I'm going to cut off all the excess. And you can go ahead and notch all the points so that it will aid your pressing. You can go ahead and notch all. Just make sure you don't cut through your seam line. That's important. So once I'm done, I'm going to then go ahead. So I'm going to go ahead now and turn this out like so. And now the next thing I'm going to do now is to give it a nice press before we can do the final joining. It needs a nice and good press. So you can see it is coming up. It is looking like it. So once we give it a nice press, this comes over, and we have this. And if you want the this thing, you could make it to come like this outside. The black is here, the Ankara is showing. Or you could make it come like this, where the black is out and the Ankara is showing like this. So anything that works for you, let's press it. So I've have it pressed. So now this is it. These are the notch areas, and this is the notch point of my shirt. Now, so I want the black to be outside like this. So I'm simply going to seal the black first. You can do it anyway. Actually, you could start from outside and you finish it inside, or start from inside and you finish it outside. So now, since I want it to be this way, are you getting it? I want the black fabric to be the one that is going to be outside. So that means this one now is going to come. Sorry, this one is going to come this way rather. So now I'm simply going to join the Ankara to Ankara first. So matching up all the notch areas. So I said we not to have a guideline that we are working with. So I'm simply going to start sewing now. So still you follow not you shouldn't be up to half. You don't need much sewing allowance. So this one and this one it comes here like so. So when you measure your neck circumference right, you should see. I'm still going to open it so that I can have this covered. So you don't sew beyond that same line that you have here. So once I'm done, I'm going to bring it up. So let me show you. You don't sew beyond. You can see this place is matching with this same line. So I'm going to now go ahead, turn it to the other side and sew. This and this will go so. I'm just going to do this. So once I'm done, just like we did for the button cuff, I'm going to now bring this in and bring this on it like so. So I'm going to top stitch it now all the way. So you have to make sure you open up the anchor all through so that it doesn't affect each other. So and you take all the excess so that this one can sit flat. It must sit flat. So just keep going, making sure I have flat. So now, just like we did for the button cover, when you are through, you also have to top stitch this place all around. So I'm going to go ahead and start top stitching. So now I've top stitched this point, so I'm left with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and do this place too. So just be mindful. I'm not going to start from the stand. I'm just going to start from the corner itself. So and that is that for the collar we are through. So I can go ahead cut off the thread. Then so when I want to press it, I'm just going to bring it over this way and give it a nice press. So this is how it's going to look now. So now you can see this place is everything is matching up. So when this comes, this one doesn't distract anything. So now we are done with the collar. If you have any question, you can ask in the comment section below, and I'll be there to attend to you. So bye.